Have you ever been part of a team that just didn't work? You know, the meetings are a total mess, nobody's on the same page, and you feel like you're just spinning your wheels. It's gotta be one of the most common frustrations out there. But what if there was a roadmap to fix it? Well, let's dive into a practical guide that can help you troubleshoot that team and turn it into a real high-performing powerhouse. Okay, first things first, we've got to ask a super important question. What if the problem isn't the people you're with, but the fact that you're not actually a team at all? I know it sounds simple, but trust me, this one little distinction is the foundation for absolutely everything else.
So check this out. This is the core difference. A group? That's just a bunch of people, really. Think of strangers in an elevator. Everyone's doing their own thing. The performance is just the sum of what each person does individually. But a team is different. They've got a common commitment, and they hold each other accountable. And that creates this amazing synergy, where what the team can do is way more than what all the individuals could do on their own. That's the magic we're all aiming for.
Right, so once you know you're building a real team, you need to get a handle on its natural life cycle. Turns out, there's a pretty predictable roadmap that almost every team follows, thanks to a psychologist named Bruce Tuckman. And, spoiler alert, some of the stages are supposed to be messy.
As you can see from this roadmap, every team goes on a journey. It moves through these 5 stages: forming, storming, norming, performing, and sometimes adjourning. And see those questions for each stage? That's basically the team's inner monologue. Understanding this is key. So let's break each one down.
So the journey always kicks off with forming. This is like the polite honeymoon phase, you know? Everyone's on their best behavior, but underneath it all, there's a ton of uncertainty. People are trying to figure out, what are the goals? What's my role? Who's in charge here? The big question everyone is subconsciously asking is, why are we even here?
And then the storm hits. This is where all that politeness starts to wear off and reality sinks in. Personalities come out and you get conflict over roles, leadership, and just how to get things done. It can feel awful, honestly. But here's the most important thing to remember. This stage isn't just normal, it's absolutely necessary. It's where the team tests boundaries and really starts to take shape. If you can get through the storm, you reach the norming stage. This is where things calm down, and a real sense of unity starts to emerge. People finally accept their roles. You establish those unspoken rules of how to work together, and you can just feel that togetherness building. The team finally gets it. And this is the destination, the performing stage. At this point, the team is a well-oiled machine. All that energy that used to go into fighting and figuring things out is now pointed directly at the task at hand. The team is efficient, it's effective, and it just works. No friction.
Finally, for teams that aren't meant to last forever, like for a specific project, there's the adjourning stage. The work's done, and it's time to wrap it all up. This stage is all about celebrating what you've accomplished and helping everyone move on to what's next. It's all about getting that closure.
Okay, so now you can probably figure out which stage your team is in, but how do you actively push it toward that awesome performing stage? Well, you need a toolkit. So let's look at the 3 most essential tools for building a really great team.
It really all comes down to these 3 pillars. You have to start by building a foundation of trust. Then, you set crystal clear performance goals. And finally, and this is the part that might surprise you, you learn to make conflict a productive force, not a destructive one. Let's dig into each of these.
Let's start with trust. Trust isn't just some vague, fuzzy feeling, right? It's actually built on these 3 specific things. Authenticity, can people be their real selves? Logic, do you actually trust each other's judgment? And empathy, do you believe your teammates genuinely have your back? When you have all 3 of those, you've got a foundation of rock-solid trust. Next up, goals. You know, high-performing teams run on clarity. Think about a NASCAR pit crew. Their goal isn't just to service the car. No way. It's change 4 tires and refuel in under 12 seconds. It's specific, it's measurable, and they get feedback instantly. That's the kind of clarity a great team needs to really thrive.
And now for the most counterintuitive tool in our kit, conflict. We're all taught to avoid disagreement, right? But the research shows that a lack of conflict can actually be a really bad sign for a team. It might mean nobody cares anymore. The key is knowing the right kind of conflict to have.
So here's the critical difference you've got to understand. You have dysfunctional conflict. That's the bad stuff. Personal attacks, arguments that just drag everyone down.
But then there's functional conflict. That's the good stuff. It's passionate debate over ideas and strategies. It's all about finding the best way to get to the team's goal. It actually helps the team.
And you can see this in action at the highest levels. Pixar, the animation studio, has this group called the Brain Trust. They bring in their top directors to give brutally honest, direct feedback on movies while they're still being made. It's not about ego, it's just about making the movie better. That is functional conflict at a world-class level.
So, let's turn this back to you for a second. When a disagreement pops up, what's your go-to move? Seriously, think about it. Do you dive right in? Do you try to smooth everything over? Or do you kind of just run for the hills?
Your answer probably puts you somewhere on this grid. It's like a map of different conflict styles. Look at the two axes. You've got how much you care about your own needs and how much you care about other people's needs. Let's just look at two opposite corners to see how this all plays out.
Okay, so up in the top right corner, you've got the integrating style. This is the win-win. You care a lot about your needs and a lot about theirs, so you work together to find the absolute best solution for everyone. Then, down in the bottom left, you've got avoiding. That's a lose-lose. You just ignore the problem and nobody's happy. The goal for any high-performing team is to push toward that collaborative, integrating style.
So, we've covered a lot of ground. The difference between a group and a team, the 5 stages of development, and the core tools for building success. Now it's time to put it all together so you can start troubleshooting your own team.
The real power of this whole framework is that it gives you a new lens to see your team more clearly. Now you can diagnose if you're stuck in the storming phase. You understand that building trust isn't just a nice-to-have, it's essential. And you know that encouraging healthy, functional conflict is actually part of the job. You have the tools to help your team get where it needs to be.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important question of all. Based on everything we just talked about, what is one single thing you can do today or this week to help your team take that next step? Whether it's just clarifying one single goal, building a little trust, or sparking a healthy debate, what's it going to be?